Hello, fight fans, and welcome to the Combat Challenge podcast. My guest is Matthew the Beast Bonner, a professional MMA athlete who has just competed on Cagewarriors 1-2-1 against James Webb. Matt, thank you so much for joining us so soon, my brother. I really appreciate it.
Glad to be back on, mate, and glad to get the finish, and glad to be back on the podcast with yourself.
Thank you, my brother. So now that you've had your fight with James Webb, if you can talk us through what you knew about James and what was the game plan going into the fight.
In terms of fighting James, this is probably the most research I've ever done on one fighter. Of course, you'll look back on YouTube and stuff, and or UFC Fight Pass in this case, and you'll look back at their previous fights. But I think I must have watched James's videos. It must have been close to 100 times. The 5-6 videos prior to mine, or fights prior to mine. That's really watched those quite intensely. James has always kind of followed the same game plan. He likes to push forward, throw a few strikes, get it on the cage, take you down, and either kind of ground and pound his way to a finish, or ground his pound way into kind of a submission, arm triangle, rear naked choke, or a back take. And, that looks like, from this fight, that's what he was trying to do as well, which I don't blame him because it's worked very well from in the past. But obviously I was very much switched on to that this time.
And if we can talk about the fights itself and just lead us through the rounds, my brother.
So the first round was very much me feinting the lead hand. And that, again, was to stop him kind of dropping his level and trying to take me down. If you kind of keep busy with this lead left hand and keep throwing out the jab, it makes them hesitate and makes them kind of not commit to the takedown. And then in between the feints, I'd be throwing stiff jabs, backhands, left hooks combinations. So in the first round, it was very much him trying to get in and me, like I say, throwing strikes. And then when he came in, getting the underhook, throwing him away, and then getting back to the centre. I did that really successfully in the first round. And then in the second round, it just kind of snowballed from there, where it was a case of maybe he'd take me, I think he took me down maybe twice, but as soon as he did, I'd just pop straight back up again. And I've said this quite a few times to Paul Rimmer, who's the next generation coach. These guys who I'm fighting at the moment, the last 3 guys, once I clinch up with them, they just don't feel anywhere close to the same strength level as me, or on anywhere close to strength level of my training partners at Next Generation. I train primarily with a young kid called Ben Kelly, who's hopefully making his pro debut in August, and he must weigh about 84 kilo, where James would have weighed, I think, probably mid-90s, but Ben felt so much stronger. And so when James did come in, I was stable almost to kind of toss him to the side and then do the damage with the strikes. And that's what happened at the end of the second round. I managed to get a nice finish.
So let's talk about the finish, because at one stage you've got your back against the cage and he's in deep. And I don't know if he's trying to go for a double because his head's quite low. And then you did like a bit of a switch. If you talk us through that and then the combination you came up with.
Yeah, he was kind of, I think even at that point, it was the end of the second round, but because he'd been trying to take me down the whole fight, I think it almost exhausted his cardio by that point. And so like you mentioned, I've kind of threw him off to the side, reverse position, so his back's on the cage. And then you'll know this from Combat Challenge, when 10 seconds is left in the round, he'd give a little tap on the cage, and that lets the officials know, but it also lets the fighters know that you've got 10 seconds left. So I thought, all right, if I've got 10 seconds left, let's see what I can do this remaining time. And I think I ended up throwing about 26 punches or something. My dad's counted. My dad rung me up before and told me how many punches it was. About 26 punches. And I hit him with, it was a right hook followed by a left hook. And it's almost like, knocked him this way and then that way. So it had like a whiplash effect. And almost dropped him. And then the referees took one look at him and waved off the fight. So, again, it's just really nice to get a finish. That's what I said to my coach before we went out into the fight. I really want to get a finish. I don't want to fight 3 rounds. I really don't want to fight 3 rounds anymore. I want to get it done in less.
The thing is, it wasn't just a finish in itself, Matt. It was decisive. It showed your power and your skill there. Now that you've dealt with James, you did your preparation, your game plan, you've had your fight, and that chapter's now behind you in the rearview mirror. What's the plans for you moving forward, my brother?
There's two things that came up, and I wish I could kind of give you like a little bit of an exclusive on one thing, but I can't say anything. I can't even really mention it. Obviously, the one thing that I can say is the title shot looks like it's probably gonna work out. There's obviously no contract or anything like that, but regarding the middleweight division, Cagewarriors, I think I showed that I was definitely the true contender. So I think, and again, this isn't me putting words in anyone's mouth. I do believe they'll give me the title shot next. For sure. I think the next show's in June. Whether it'll be in June, I'm not sure, because I don't know what Natis Frederick, the current champion. I don't really know what he's doing, if he's going to be ready by then. But and then there's this other thing that again I can't really mention. But if that goes off, that's possibly, well, it would be even bigger than the title shot. So I don't know. You'll have to have like a little think of what that means. But that's going to be massive for me if that does come off.
Well, brother, whatever it is, I'm sure you're going to come back and have a chat with us about it, right?
Oh, sure. Definitely. Go. You'll be the first one.
Matt, thank you so much for coming on board so soon after your fight, and well done on your victory. And I look forward to having you on future podcasts, my brother.
Thanks for having me again. And again, thanks for having me again before the fight and after the fight. I really enjoyed it.